This past year, I took an idea I'd been holding on to for a long time, and I deliberately put it into action. Beginning the startup phase of the Way of Genius, and underneath that decision, running alongside it the whole time, my mind was working on two things at once. I knew going in exactly how much growth this would demand of me, just in every way. Starting something this big doesn't just build a company. It births a new version of you, whether you're ready to meet her or not. Let me show you that and how it actually looks, because I think it explains something true about how any of us actually grow into something big. There were two pillars, one in the water and one in the void. Let's start further back than either dream, because neither of them makes sense without this part. Years ago, long before the Way of Genius had a name, I was learning to industry hop, trying to flip companies, learning badly at first and then less badly, and how to walk into something broken or stalled and find the version of it that actually worked. Nobody told me that doing this would demand personal growth for me. I didn't go looking for self-development as a hobby or a virtue. It was required. You cannot flip a company past the ceiling of who you are currently. The business will only ever grow as far as you grow. I've learned that the hard way over and over again through the years before I had a language for it. That's the part nobody sees from the outside. That entrepreneurship, done honestly, is one of the most efficient personal development programs that exists, precisely because it doesn't care about your comfort. It just presents you with a ceiling and waits to see if you'll rise to meet it or stay under it. The Way of Genius was already there, underneath all of that, waiting, already forming in the methods first, long before there was any vision of what it would become. Gathering itself the whole time, I thought I was just learning a business. So, the first pillar. Now the second. I'm floating in nothing, not falling, not drifting, just suspended. The void stretches in every direction. No up, no down, no edge to reach for, just space, just black, that hum of something enormous and perfectly still wrapped around everything I am. I'd been here before. The first time, I was struck by the sheer size of it, the depth of the void against the smallness of me. No ground to push against it, no resistance to borrow from, and no familiar physics to trust. But even in that disorientation, something faint revealed itself, a knowing that there is always a flow, even when it doesn't appear to exist, even in nothing, and that I am the one who creates it. The first dream gave me that, the small but certain, a seed of movement planted in the dark. The second dream expanded everything. I became the weaver. The perspective widened to something almost incomprehensible. Chaos on a cosmic scale, systems without order, and somehow my hands finding this golden thread and pulling them into coherence. Bigger challenge, bigger reach. The wisdom of the first dream now living in my body, applied to the something fast. Then came a night that I was in charge. There's a vessel beneath me, large, flat, something like a paddleboard engineered for deep space, and a partner beside me. We need to move, base to base, through the void, and I'm the one responsible for making it happen. And there is nothing out here to help me except for whatever I can generate from inside myself. So I find it, the flow, something that exists even in the nothing, like my chi, a current that isn't visible until you stop fighting the absence and start listening for it instead. And I catch it. I move us forward, and then I lose it, and I find it again. And the finding gets faster each time, smoother and more certain. I'm problem solving in real time inside a space that should be impossible to navigate, and I'm doing it well. There are witnesses beyond the dream space. I feel them before I see them. Presences at the edge of the void, invisible, watching, not judging, just witnessing. And then something shifts, and I understand they're not just watching, they're communicating. A deep telepathic knowing moves through me without words, and that not many people out here doing this work. That's what happens in this space, not just for me, but for everyone. I think of astronauts, the ones who train for years in conditions that simulate the impossible, so that when they arrive at the real thing, their body already knows what to do. The parallel feels exact. I'm not just dreaming, I'm training, pushing past what a physical human body and waking mind can access, and doing it here, in the dream state, where those limits don't apply the same. And somewhere in the middle of it, a deeper thought arrives, folding inside the awareness I already have. None of this stops mattering just because I'm asleep. It changes nothing about what happens here. The problem solving is real. The movement is real. The transmission from the witnesses is real. Whatever is being built in this space is registering somewhere deep and at a cellular level. Somewhere making practice alone doesn't always reach. Before sleep, I had planted an intention, neuroplasticity, voice, leadership, pushing past my own physical limits for the mission. I set that seed deliberately at the subconscious, and the subconscious took us somewhere I couldn't have engineered consciously or arrived at through waking effort alone. At the same time, the exact same months, a very different water was moving through me. Not the void this time, a pool, dirty, still layered with things that had been sitting too long. Not my pain alone, an inherited one. My grandfather's patterns running into my father's, into mine. Generations swimming in what was once left behind without meaning to. Where the space dreams were about building something forward, reach, capacity, mission, the water was about releasing something backward. Attachment to pain that had been handed down as love, because love was the only language anyone had been taught to give it in. Both pillars running the same year, both demanding incubation and time, and showing up night after night without forcing the pace. Here's what I've come to understand about why my mind was building both of these at the once, instead of one after the other. You cannot carry a mission bigger than what you're still dragging behind you. The space dreams were teaching me to generate flow in nothing, to navigate the impossible, to train for something most people never attempt. But none of that capacity means anything if I'm hauling 3 generations of unprocessed pain into the void with me. The reach only holds if the weight is sorted first. So my subconscious paced it. The family dreams hit harder in the last 6 months. Right as the real world work, the actual way of genius methods and prototypes started taking form. That's not a coincidence. That's a system checking whether the structure could hold what was about to be built inside it. The mission got more real, so the release got more urgent. One pillar rising required the other pillar to finally clear. This is the whole arc. When I look at it honestly, entrepreneurship demanded the growth. The void trained the capacity. The pool released the weight that would have collapsed the capacity if I tried to carry it forward unresolved. And none of it happened in the order I would have planned it. I would have been in charge of scheduling it. It happened in the order it needed to. I doubt I'll make it to actual space, but I know my work will. And I think that's the true of all of it. Not just the astronaut thread, but the whole shape of this year. These dreams were never separate from my research. They are my research, a living curriculum, running underneath everything I'm building, integrating new capacities and new beliefs and new identity across every layer of who I am. What happens in here reflects back outward, into my work, into the people I work with, into whatever this work is actually moving toward. So here's what I've learned and where I've landed. Going into whatever comes next, every wall I hit, in the dreams, in the company, in the pool, in the void, was never actually a wall. It was a direction sign, something telling me which way the flow wants to go next, if I stop fighting the absence and start listening to the current instead. That's true in nothing. It was in the void. It's true awake, building something very big, one buffered phase at a time.